Welcome back to Xbox Corner, my name is Luke, and it's that time of the week again where we take a look at the latest offering of Game Pass titles, and if you missed last week's video, we had a big start to December with 8 new games being added, including Anvil, Stardew Valley, and of course, Lawn Mowing Simulator. Now we put together these videos weekly, and here on Xbox Corner we also cover deals, game reviews and graphical comparisons, so if you own an Xbox and are looking for honest, unbiased Xbox related content, then consider subscribing to the channel. For now though, go ahead and give that like button a tickle, and let's get started. So first up we'll start with the obvious one, and that is the release of the campaign mode for Halo Infinite, the latest entry in the Halo franchise. Set on the ring world of Zeta Halo, players once more get to step into the armoured boots of the legendary Master Chief, and fans of the series will be glad to hear that Infinite sees a return to classic form here with a throwback to the series' earlier days. However, there are a significant number of changes to the core gameplay, including a bunch of new weapons, some open world gameplay featuring a bunch of side quests and VIP targets to take down for rewards, and a new AI companion known as the Weapon to fill the void left by Cortana. There's also a new upgrade system allowing you to make improvements to utility items such as the grapple shot, an awesome little gadget which anyone who has played the multiplayer beta will be familiar with. And speaking of multiplayer, there are also a bunch of cosmetic items you can obtain from the campaign, including emblems, nameplates and weapon skins. Now from what I've been hearing, the game has been receiving generally positive reviews, however there are a couple of important points to note if you're looking at giving the game a blast. First and foremost being the lack of any sort of co-op play in the campaign, which to some people may come as a disappointment considering some of the most memorable moments that I've had have been playing the game alongside a friend, though co-op is slated to appear in a future update. Secondly, there's also currently no chapter select, meaning there's no way to actually replay campaign missions outside of starting a new game, and this is also going to be added in a future update, but the good news is that the collectibles that you obtain do carry over between games and across save files. All in all, Infinite looks to be a solid addition to the series, though let's be honest, the multiplayer is where it's at. Our next game, Serious Sam 4, is the second first-person shooter on our list, and while this one isn't quite as iconic as our previous title, it's still garnered a loyal fanbase since the first encounter back in 2001. Renowned for its wacky plotlines, plethora of secret areas and quippy one-liners, the series sees Sam defending the last of humanity against an alien threat, and it'll likely come as no surprise that the fourth entry in the series doesn't break the mould. Now gameplay in this one foregoes any kind of realism, opting for a fast-paced run and gun style arcade approach which constantly tests the player's ability to think fast, and if you've never actually played a Serious Sam game, then you can basically expect to be dual-wielding a bunch of ridiculously over-the-top weapons and utilising them to turn literal hordes of enemies into smushy red gibs. So far as the storyline goes though, I would say don't expect too much from the game, and having played the previous titles, I have to say I much preferred the more cartoony visual aesthetics of the first two games. This fourth entry is still plenty of fun though, and if you're just looking for some mindless violence, a few laughs and lots of enemies to pulverise, then Serious Sam 4 is just the ticket. Up next we have One Piece Pirate Warriors 4, the latest action-adventure game in the Pirate Warriors series, which once more sees you joining main man Luffy and over 40 other iconic extremely overpowered One Piece characters as they kick and punch their way through legions of underpowered opponents. Now beyond the first episode, I've never actually watched One Piece, but the storyline in this one attempts to summarise around 900 episodes of its monolithic storyline in a campaign mode which lasts around 15 hours, and by all accounts it apparently does this reasonably well. Fans of the series will no doubt recognise many of the game's scenes as it covers a bunch of different story arcs, but be warned, if you're currently in the process of watching them, then the game will contain a bunch of spoilers. Now gameplay wise, Pirate Warriors 4 is a Musu game through and through, so think Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, that kind of game where you're basically smashing up thousands of insignificant enemies, executing ridiculously over the top special moves and going up against powerful enemy officers, which in this case are the heroes and villains of the One Piece series. I've always been a fan of these kind of games as they're really easy to get into, require very little thought, and are generally a lot of fun to play through in 2-player co-op. And even if you're not a fan of One Piece, I'd say that there's still plenty of fun to be had with this one. Alien's Fireteam Elite is our next game, and it's a co-op third-person survival shooter in which you and a team of 3 other players, either human or AI, get to blast your way through wave after wave of xenomorphs across 4 unique campaigns. Now this is one which we covered with a graphical comparison on the channel, and Alex also reviewed the game over on PlayStationCorner, and from what he experienced, while the game isn't particularly memorable when it comes to the storyline, it does respect the source material and fits just fine into the Alien universe. Unlike Alien Isolation though, this isn't one that's gonna scare the socks off you, and instead gameplay feels like a mix between Gears of War and Left 4 Dead as you engage in squad-based combat against a wide variety of aliens. At your disposal are the usual selection of weapons, so think pulse rifles, smart guns and flamethrowers, and there are also a selection of classes to choose from, each with their own special abilities. All in all though, Alex seemed to enjoy this one, giving it a solid 7 out of 10 for a rating, and I'd imagine that it's a decent one to play through with a bunch of friends. Our penultimate game this week is called Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator, and this one looks like a bit of a strange one as it basically has you doing a spot of day trading, though instead of stocks and shares, you'll be buying and selling the organs of all kinds of alien creatures. Advertised as the sci-fi body horror market tycoon you didn't know that you needed, the game has you playing as a budding trader who is looking to make a mint on the market, but in order to do so, you're going to have to compete with other likely traders to snag those organs at the lowest possible price before flipping them for a profit, and its narrative is packed with dark humour, making the morbidity of its concept all that more enjoyable. Now there's plenty of depth to the game despite its simple looking interface, and when it comes to replayability, there's also a bunch of different endings to unlock which are dependent on the choices that you make. If you've ever fancied yourself a bit of a wheeler dealer and are not too concerned about the goods you're trying to flog, then Space Warlord Organ Trading Simulator may be the game for you. So the final game on today's list is Among Us, and this is one that actually launched way back in 2018, but it wasn't until the end of 2020 that the game absolutely exploded, and at one point saw over 60 million active players. Now I was never actually one of those 60 million players, and I've only actually spent a couple of hours playing the game, but it is a lot of fun, especially if you can get a bunch of friends together, and the premise of the game is extremely simple. A bunch of players are dropped into one of several levels, and each is given a set of maintenance tasks to complete around the map. One of the players, however, is an imposter, and it's his job to murder everyone else and not get caught, while the surviving players attempt to identify the killer and flush them out of the airlock. Like I said, it's a simple premise, but it's massively entertaining, and I'd say that my only real criticism is that I feel that voice comms are required to get the most out of the game, though it's still very enjoyable even without them. The latest update of Among Us has also introduced a bunch of new roles to the game, adding even more variety to gameplay, and if you're looking for something fun and addictive to play with friends, then I highly recommend giving Among Us a go. And that about does it for another week, so was there anything in this roundup that you're going to be putting some hours into? Let us know down in the comments section below. Next week's Game Pass sees the arrival of another anticipated title with The Gunk, and we'll be covering that one on the channel with a full review as well as a graphical comparison, so make sure to subscribe to be notified when that goes live. For now though, I just want to end this video by saying a big thanks to you all for your ongoing support of the channel. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks everyone, take care.